Good, good. Thank you, Andrea. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual open day for project management, the postgraduate diploma. My name is Milan Mokhashwa. I'm the client liaison of the business school. And my role is to host today and take you guys through the structure of what we do with the PGDIP project management. We are delighted that you guys decide to spend time with us tonight. The intention and the hope is that this virtual, open day, you guys all leave more informed and more eager to join the program. Just a few rules, just to let everybody know that it's being recorded so that you all have access to it post this event. And please keep yourselves muted unless we open up the floor for a Q&A at the end, just that it doesn't disrupt the speakers. You are welcome to engage with us in the chat room throughout the event. We do have a great team from the business school who will be assisting if you have questions. Just hold on to some questions because they might be addressed in the presentation. But if you do have some questions that you are eager to ask, you can share them in the chat box, and then we can engage with you like that. So I will be starting the presentation. Once again, welcome everybody and thank you for joining us. So on the next page, you'll see just a little bit about the business school. So our vision is to be a globally recognized, to be really a source of value for a better world. For us, that is something that is very critical. And the mission as to how we want to do that, we want to create that world by developing responsible leaders who positively impact society through knowledge, advancement, and transformative learning. So the important values that drive the business school is excellence, respect, accountability, equity, value creation, and compassion. And on the next slide, you'll see we do have a great team of academics, a very diverse group of academics offering different programs. So you'll see here some of our, heads of departments and head of programs, some who you will engage with when you guys are officially on campus. But I just want to spotlight today Dr. Kuninal, who's head of MBA and PGDIP project management, who you'll be mostly engaging with. And on the next page is that we are very proud to be a triple accredited institution. We are the top research university in Africa, Times Education, Times Higher Education, and we are 1% of global institutions that hold the title of being triple accredited. And we have been creating leaders since 1964. So the triple accreditation is a big deal for us, but not just a big deal in a way of, being accredited, but to know that we create programs that are really productive and that are on international standards, top tier. We are first in Africa to hold these three major international accreditation. And on the next page, you'll see that one can easily assume that our campus is on the Stellenbosch campus, but it is not. It is in the northern parts of Cape Town in Bellville. That is the location of the campus. We have 35,000 plus alumni network worldwide with 17 chapters globally. We have 15 partner universities, 6 research centers, 34 core faculty, 23 PhD holders, and we have 65 plus journal articles published in 2023 and have accumulated since then. And on the next page, thank Dr. Kuni. On the next page, I'm finally introducing Dr. Kuninal, the program head of the PGDIP project management, who will be running us through the presentation. And, just to say shortly about Dr. Kuni, he's a passionate professional with more than 16 years of exposure to various national and international infrastructure projects. I was told not to brag too much about Dr. Kuni, but it is a delight that I can present Dr. Kuni to take you through the program and for you guys to be more enlightened as to what the PGT project management has in store. Over to you, Doc. You are on mute, Dr. Kuni.
There we go. Sorry. Thank you, Milan. Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be with you. Milan has been the one that's been putting up everything together for us. So he had quite a day, and we had quite a warm-up session just to get everything ready for you guys. But we're ready for you, and we've got, like he said, we've got a great team in the back end to support us with all the questions. You can pretty much, with everybody that we have there, you can pretty much ask any question. We'll be able to answer that with the team that we have. Everything from enrollment right the way through to academics and everything else, marketing, everything that comes with that. So yes, my name is Kuni Nel. I don't like looking at myself, so I'm just gonna jump this slide to do my introduction in the next one. Okay, so my name is Kuni. Like I said, I am the head of the PGD in project management. So at the business school, we have two, I want to say in the broader sense, we've got two programs in project management. We've got a MBA in project management, or actually the right way of saying it is an MBA with a specialization in project management. And to maybe say what we do, it might be good to also say what they do, so we can see what in perspective to the two, what's actually going on there. So the first thing that we need to realize is that we are seated within a business school. So it's not a technical project management certifications or qualifications that you'll get from us. We have the MBA, and the right way of saying it's the MBA, it's an MBA with a specialization in project management. I had a very interesting conversation with the head of the MBA program actually this week, on what does the MBA entail, and what do you say to someone that wants to do a wants to gain a qualification in project management. And the best way of explaining that, or to say that, is that it is a generic MBA, and then you have 4 modules at the end of the MBA in which you specialize, more specialized. I want to say more specialized project management modules within your MBA. So if you want to ask me who wants to do an MBA, I would say an MBA in project management. I would say it's someone who has a passion for business primarily, and they might be managing a organization that's very purely seated to deal with projects and project management on a higher level. But you are not here to understand what the MBA is about. You're here to understand what the PGD is about. Now, the PGD is a more functional project management qualification that you will gain. So the question that she actually said, she said it. So it's not me that said it. Is that when you get out of this qualification, you are going to be a much better project manager, or much more well-rounded project manager. You must think about it this way: is in the MBA we do 4 modules in project management, and it's fairly high-level modules. It's program management, project strategy, and a few other modules that link back to that higher level. In our qualification, we've got 8 modules, everything from foundational right up to also dealing with the strategy and the organizational management in organizations that put project based. So I'm just saying that as an introduction so that you understand what is number one, what's putting us apart, and number two, what is the difference between the two certifications or qualifications within the business school. And I want to finish with the introduction, by saying that what sets us apart from other universities or other qualifications that you get out there is the fact that we are sitting within a business school. So we always deal with business first. We always say, yes, we're dealing with a very functional, something like a work breakdown structure or a Gantt chart or something. But remember, what's the value to the organization to deliver a project within a time or a schedule limit that we have? And that's the key distinguisher that I think that you will gain from doing a qualification at Stellenbosch, and specifically the postgrad diploma in project management. Okay, so that's the introduction. A lot of the things I've already said that I'm supposed to say later on, but we'll pick that up when we get there. So let's follow the slides and see if I've missed anything and if I have something else to say. So just to start off with the timeline. So you must be wondering, do I still have time to register or to apply? Yes, you do. The application has been open for a while already. Marisa is representing that side of our team today, and she's doing a lot of hard work in the back end to make sure that that you can get in and that all the paperwork is ready and that everything's in line. You have until the 31st of October to apply. I will not wait until the last minute. If I were you, there might be something missing or some issue with your application. Then you actually want a bit more time to just finalize all the stuff. So maybe give yourself a week or two if you're a last minute person. Otherwise, get your stuff out there so that you can start applying and the process can go. We are already in the process of admitting the applicants as we continue going forward. Then we have an RPL program. It's a recognition for prior learning. I'll say something about it later on, but in short, if you don't have, remember, it's a post-grad diploma. It means you have to have a degree before you can do that. So it's sort of an honors level. So you must think of it that way. But we have a stream that you can apply for if you have great experience, if you have great exposure, that you can sort of enter into the process. The disclaimer, I know Marisa is saying, please tell them that we have very limited spaces for that. The universities say we can take 10% of, at maximum 10% of our enrollments can be RPL candidates. So it is not a definite that you will. There's quite a process that we'll go through, that we have to go through to get candidates. And on that note, we actually have a representative from someone who just finished now, who has done very, very well at the university, who's actually going to talk to you today. And he was an RPL candidate. So there's from the moment in which you are admitted, there's absolutely no distinction between the applicants that we have. Okay, so that's the timelines that you have. That's just an introduction slide. The question is, why do you want to do a PGD in project management? I've already answered the question, why do you want to do it with us? And I actually want to just link that back to, to this is, why do you want to do a degree in project management? Guys, I can really literally talk for hours about the need for project management. I had a very interesting discussion with one of my private clients on AI and the influence on AI and what do we prepare our project managers for when this new AI wave is hitting us. Well, not new anymore, no? And my general comment is that we will always have a person that sits in the middle of everything. I'm talking about the project manager. Yes, a lot of the heavy lifting will be done for us by the AI, and a lot of the intense, I want to say, integration and data management and very nice dashboards and all of those things we can now send off to the AIs to help us with. But when it comes to the actual integration and the relationships and the multidisciplinary nature of the project world and the project managers world, we will always need that. So definitely there's not a and the indication is that the need for project management hasn't gone down in quite a long time, even since the AI wave hit us. So yes, so why again? So further than the fact that there's a need for us, is you want to maybe further your career, you want to qualify, you want to lift the ceiling a bit higher, and a postgrad degree is always a good way of doing that. It's always also important to note that our postgrad diplomas are all a gateway towards the MBA. So if you had aspirations of doing an MBA later on, you are welcome to take this route as well. If you maybe not ready for an MBA yet or haven't got the right qualifications yet, you're welcome to to do that, it's a good way of segue into that. Okay, so getting into the program itself, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. If I leave anything out that you have questions about, please put it in the question in the chat lines. We can address that later. I think the first thing that we need to say is, well, there's a few things. The first thing is to pass. You need to pass 8 of our modules, and we call those modules foundational modules and specialization modules. I'll get to that in a moment. And there's 2 formats. Well, you actually have 4 options. So there's 2 structured formats in which you can do the postgrad diploma. It's either blended, or it's just a fancy way of saying you're doing it mostly online. It's not everything online. Or you can do it modular, which is, we used to call that in my days, block week format. So you will come to campus, you will have a week of classes, you'll write your test, you'll do your group work. Not everything, obviously, some of the stuff still happens at home within your syndicates or your groups. And then you'll go back home and you'll learn and you'll prepare and you'll be interacting with your group team members until the next block, and so it will continue. So both of those formats you can do either over 1 year or over 2 years. And I'm going to come back to that in a moment. So maybe just sort of pick up some of the stuff that's on this slide already. Is yes, our campus is on Bellville. It's already been said. So if you do it in a modular format, even the blended, I think the first block or so will be on campus as well. You'll have to come to Cape Town and you'll be here. And you'll meet everybody and you'll meet us and you'll enjoy it here. It's very nice campus over there, very central to everything that happens around here in Durbanville as well. If you do it online, there will be 40 weeks of online training or online sessions. We divide it up into, and I was told again just now not to call it terms, but we've got four online blocks. We can say for all practical reasons it's terms, but it doesn't align with university terms. That's why we don't like calling it that. Which means in that 40 weeks you'll have class for, if you do it in 1 year, you'll have class for 2 days a week. No, you'll have class every week between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Normally it's on a Wednesday. Some of the bigger classes we split, so it's a Wednesday and a Thursday. And you have to put that out for the classes. And then yeah, I think that's about that on this slide. Let me just see if I've missed anything. Yeah, the block weeks Monday to Saturday. Yeah, okay, I think this is it. So just to explain the 4 options that you have a bit further and link that back to our modules that we offer. I have this slide to show you that if you are deciding to do your postgrad diploma over 1 year, so disregard the format for now. I'm going to come back to that now. This is how your year will look like. So in term 1, which is not really, we don't call it terms anymore, you'll have 2 subjects which will run together. And then you'll see it's 2 subjects, and then 2 subjects up to the end. So basically, if you do it in a block week format, in your first block, you'll have responsible leadership, which is what we call a foundational module. Foundational, it just means other postgrad diplomas also share those modules with us. And you'll have a specialization module, which is belonging to the project management, the PGD guy. So you'll have, in that first week that you'll have these 2, and then the same goes on for the rest. So the second week you'll have those 2, third week you'll have those 2, and fourth week you'll have to choose between either one of these: organizational behavior or risk and uncertainty, one of those. Most of our people do the risk one, obviously because of the nature of projects and risk playing such a big role, but you're happy to choose the other one as well. And then you'll do integration in your last block. So that's how it will look like if you do it over 1 year. If you do it in a block week format, a modular format. If you do this over 2 years, then you can cut a line in between here, and you can say this will happen in the first year in the evenings, and not in the evenings. This will happen in the first year, and this side will happen in the second year. So you'll do all you finish up all your foundational modules in year one, and then you will do your specialization modules in year two. I hope it makes sense. It sounds a bit more complicated than it is. It really isn't that complicated. Okay, so to just sort of elaborate on what I just said now is that this is just putting everything together. So if you do it over 2 years, well, this is the 2 years option, but put together. So if you do it over 2 years, there's your foundational modules that you'll do in the first year. So again, your first 4 terms in the first year, you'll do these 4, and then in the next year you'll do the second 4. So what this slide is actually only is what we did is we took these 4 modules, if you do it over 1 year, and we just pop it over the year on this side. Okay, I hope it makes sense. And then that was sort of if you do it in a modular, if you do it in a block week format, in our blended format, then the same thing applies. It's just the format that'll change. Okay, so maybe I should dive a bit into our program, then just our modules, just so you get an idea of what do we offer and what do we talk about. So it's a very good blend or a very good mixture between organizational modules and then project modules within the organization. So on the foundational phase, we've got 4 blocks, 4 modules. The first one is understanding the world, and that is just to see what is our integration between my organization, me personally, in my society out there. We know that how projects work and project management work, you're not an island. It's very cross-functional, both internal and external, with clients and contractors and consultants and external stakeholders. So we are starting off the whole certification or I keep on saying certification tonight. The whole qualification within your role and the organization's role in your environment out there. So that's our first one. Then obviously leadership is very important within the project environment. You act as the project manager, which is the project leader, and also the representative of the project. And maybe if you go higher up into programs and portfolios for projects within your organization. So we deal with leadership then. Very good module. We go through all the theories and all the stuff, but we look internal and external. And we also, it's not just a module to teach you about leadership. We also have a development program seated within that. So you will be developed more as a leader by doing that module. Then we go to module number 4, which is our foundational project management module. Now, guys, this is we used to call this, and it's still an external program as well, external training program. I call it the 5-day program. So if you enter into that program or that module and you work through that module, you'll be able to understand what projects is about, what project management is about, what your role as the project manager is, as well as the project life cycle, all the basic tools and techniques. Basically everything that you need on a basic level to go and manage a project. Very valuable module, and normally it's quite nice to see the growth that comes out of that, because someone who comes for a postgrad diploma in project management has got some project experience already. And then just to sort of formalize all those things that you've already been doing in a nice structured way so that you can help yourself around the project as well. Okay, then we can do organizational behavior. Like I said, that's a bit more sort of business management side, not really focusing on the project itself, but also very valuable for us as project managers to understand the organizations we work in. And then we have managing risk and uncertainty, which is obviously a key aspect of projects and project management that we deal with. Okay, so those are your foundational modules. And then just to go back again, you'll see these are the top 4 ones that you'll do in your first year. If you do it over 2 years, in your first year, if you do it over 2 years, regardless if you do it over 2 years or 1 year, you'll do that in your first 12 months. Okay, then we have the specialization phase or the specialization modules, and you'll see these are all project management stuff. So what we do at this stage is the stuff that we learn from this managing projects module, and we take that up one level. We go a bit more advanced in that. So you'll see we talk about communication management, spoke about the inter multidisciplinary and cross functionality of project management. So we need to be able to communicate well. So we've got that then in the first block, either in your first year or in your second year if you do it over 2 years. Then we've got procurement and contracting, or procurement contracting, and that's dealing with the contracts and dealing with the suppliers and dealing with the consultants and the structures and everything that comes with that. Then we have project scheduling, and we go quite advanced into project scheduling. We've got MC Botha, who used to have my role at the business school, who's put a lot of effort into make that module really worth doing and adding a lot of value to what we learn over there. So yes, we learn the methodologies and the processes and the system that's supported by, or that's in the back end of scheduling, but we also have a very nice session or two in which we get someone from industry to help us with software as well, so we can integrate the knowledge within the software as well. And then the last one is integration. Talking about integration is the project integration management, and we've got someone there from the city of Cape Town who works on very, very big, very interesting projects over there, who takes control of this whole module. And then that's just to say, but in that module is we're trying to overcome the challenges of linking everything back to each other. So we've got all these modules which tells us something over here. We've got risk, we've got leadership, as well as all the other stuff that comes with project management, and we need to integrate that within the organization, within the project organization, the PMO, to make sure that we can deliver projects successfully. Or also looking at it strategically, to see what's your role as the project office or the project manager, or your projects within the organization as well. And like I said, the whole heartbeat of our program is the fact that we look at organizations and the role of the project within the organization. So there's like this golden line that goes through everything, saying we look at projects as a strategic tool to help us to deliver our project successful. Okay, so that's it. So in summary, you can do it over 1 year, or you can do it over 2 years. The structure is exactly the same. It's just the format that that change. And there are 4 modules in your first, 4 modules in your second. If you do it over 1 year, you'll do 2 at a time. If you do it over 2 years, you'll do 1 at a time. Okay, good. Let's continue. This is just to talk about maybe a bit more, of the way we do things. We always, well, I say always, pretty much always, we have pre-course work. So before you go on a block, or before the work is put out, if you do it in a online version, you will have some pre-reading, maybe a few quizzes to do, just to prepare yourself for the classes that's coming. We do have team assignments and individual assignments that we do. The team assignments, that's maybe a good time to talk about our team ethos within the business school. Is even from my days doing my MBA, it's really part of our DNA to bring a strong element of working within the teams. And we really do a lot of effort to make sure that the learning isn't just happening from us, but that the learning also happen from you. Because the nice thing of project management is it's a very diverse group. Because you've got accountants and engineers and architects, and yes, I don't think I have enough time to list all the people that's been through our program already, the diverse industries. And there's so much to learn from each other, and that's why we try to also bring that through our our teamwork and our team assignments as well. So every single module has got a very strong team assignment presence in there. The team assignment is just a rule that you have to get. Let me just get my ducks in a row. You have to pass on your individual assignment as well. So you cannot rely on the team assignment to pass, but that's a technicality that we will talk about if you decide to join us. Then we still have tests. The tests are getting lesser and lesser. We at the business school really believe that you learn through doing. So it's output, outcome driven assignments. It's practical stuff that we try to do. So there are a few tests, especially in the foundational modules, but most of the specialization modules is your final assessment will be in an assignment format to practice what we've done. Our presentations are all very interactive. We base it on case studies. We base it on group work, even in class, in online, in class. We breakaway sessions, brainstorming, online games that we play. So it's not, you're not going to sit there and listen for about 2 or 3 hours listening to someone talking. Okay, and then obviously reflective essays and stuff like that also come in there. I think that's about everything that I want to just talk through in this. Yeah, just maybe on our team, we do believe that we try to get a diverse as possible teams together. You don't have any say in the way the teams are put together. And I have to say, although we might have one every 2 years or so, a team that has problems, it is so nice to see the growth, the personal growth that happens within a team, the team setup as well. So it's really something to look forward to, even if you are doing it online. I almost want to say the online people has got a stronger team connection than the face-to-face guys, because they are in constant communication and they are in constant, I would say, online proximity throughout the year as well. Where the Blockweek guys, they still talk within the off times, but I mean, they've got these intense sessions or weeks where they come together and they bond a bit, and then they go out again. So it's really something to look forward to. Guys, this is a slide I'm not going to stand too long still on. I think I said enough about what we try to teach and on the levels we try to teach and instill in the delegates that go through our program. It's application based. It's preparing you for the real world. It's focusing on real project management problems. It's focusing on the project management problems and world and integration with that in the business as well, internal and external, as well as strategy and leadership. So all of those things are built into our learning outcomes. You can get the full list, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask us about this later. Okay, I think I've already answered this as well. Who should apply? Guys, if you have a passion for project management, you feel you either want to learn a bit more about the project's role in the organization, maybe want to dive a bit deeper into the technicalities of project management on an advanced level. Like I said, our specialization modules is really on an advanced level. Then this is really for you. This is something that you can look forward to if you are interested in that. So that's on the who should apply. I think I spoke about that a bit already. On the requirements level, yeah, I mean, we've got a good team who can probably more prepared for this than I am. But again, like I said, it is a post-grad diploma, which means you have to have a bachelor's degree, or for that matter, an honors degree if you want to do the postgrad diploma. And like I said, there's a RPL, recognition for prior learning process, through there as well. If you have specific questions about that, we can answer that afterwards, or if you want to contact us afterwards, we can also share that with you. We do ask that you have some, I want to say, it says minimum 2 years project management experience or position. Obviously, that's a difficult one to really measure. I mean, if project management is one of those things that most of us already almost in some way practice already. So it's expected of you have to have some exposure in a professional manner in the project world if you want to do this, because most of the topics are quite advanced, and we want you to also bring something to the table in our classes and our group work that we talk about. Some of the modules are, I don't want to say difficult. Analytical is probably a better word. So we also require you to have some level of proficiency when it comes to mathematics as well. You can see it's not very high, but we do have some calculative stuff that we need to do in there as well. In your application, you have to also give us a essay to say why. Why do you want to become a, did you do the postgrad diploma? What is what is your dreams and aspirations, and how does it align to the business school's dreams and aspirations? Now, so that's also in there, and also a CV to show that you have some experience and exposure to project management. Okay, so those are who should apply and the admission requirements. What do we have next? Credible entry pass, working professionals. Yeah, I think this is sort of built into the previous one, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, I think that was actually built in the last one, so I'm just gonna skip over this slide. And then yeah, just to finish up my part of the of the presentation is that if you ask me why, if you ask me why are you choosing us above, I don't know what, UCT or some university in Johannesburg or somewhere, it's always nice to flash these things now to say, but we are accredited and all of those things, which we are, and which is a really great benefit. Um, Guys, I've done a lot of studies actually at the business school and at University of Stellenbosch, and also in the business school. And I can tell you that with us, the whole sort of thing about you're not just a number. I've got two kids in Stellenbosch University. Well, one kid in Stellenbosch University, other one's actually just enrolled now. And the feeling that I get from main campus is, yes, you might be a number, but with the business school, it's definitely not the case. Guys, I can tell you there's people sitting on this panel, from Marisa, who was involved in your application, who will walk past you in the corridors and say, "Hi, Gerrit, I'm so glad you made it, and welcome." We've got Ashleen, who I don't think she's going to actually say something. She should actually. The mother. She's the mother at the business school for the PGD guys. You're gonna meet her, and you're gonna spend a lot of I want to say time with her and love communication with her. And I say she's the mother because that's what she is. She really looks after you. And I can tell you with a great heart that at the business school, you are not just a number. We are family over there. We are family, and it's so sad to see after 2 years, or if you did it over 1 year, that you graduate and that you leave and you go out to the real world. And we have a very good alumni program that keep everybody sort of in communication as well. But and that's what for me is the heart of it, and everything from the way we deal with the classes, the group work, the connections that you make with the lecturers, as well as the group leader, group team members that you have. It's a journey that you take on together. So yes, we do have the accreditation. Yes, we do offer a program on higher standards. We've got great lecturers and people offering the courses, but obviously there's that softer layer in there as well that I can really vouch for. And that is actually my story. Milan, I think if they want to scan this for the communication, huh?
Yes. Everybody, please use this QR scan to just look at our socials and our websites, and you'll see the contact details for the client liaison. So I can just give a minute for people to just check that. That's from
Ashley, you must say if I've missed anything important now. Henry, you guys?
No, I think you've really encapsulated the program quite well, Dr. Kuni. And yesterday, just to piggyback on what Dr. Kuni was saying while you guys are using the QR, I attended an alumni event in Johannesburg because we have different chapters that you guys will all be able to join post studying. But it was very interesting and enlightening. I met two wonderful professionals, one in retail and one in mining, both who one studied the PG project management last year and the one is currently studying it. And I can truly attest to what Dr. Kuni is saying, that people are not just a number. You can see how even after studying the program, how engaged they still are with the business school. So with that said, there's a Chinese proverb that says the best people to ask for directions are people on their way back. So we have got an alumni for us who actually has went through this journey. Nolan is part of the call, and just something fun fact about Nolan. Nolan was the number one student last year in the project management, and we are very delighted that he is part of the call, and he's just going to introduce himself and just talk about his journey and how he got into studying the course and how the course has went. I see there's a hand up. I will give time for a Q&A just after Nolan. We'll go through a proper Q&A where everybody can engage with the team and Dr. Kuni. Nolan, I'm going to give over to you.
Thank you so much, Milan. I've dotted down a few notes to talk to the prospects. But good evening, everyone. Just before I begin, please allow me to just introduce myself briefly. My name is Nolan Antoni, and I'm a husband to Lillian and a proud father to our only son, Luke. And I currently serve as a superintendent at our vessels PMO at South 32 Ottosel here in the Kalahari, working for the manganese mine. I've spent 36 years in mining industry, during which I have gained extensive experience in operations, leadership, and project management. In my current role, I coordinate a diverse portfolio of projects and lead teams to deliver a safe and sustainable projects value. Outside of work, I'm actively involved in my family, church, and community. And I also serve on our SGB board as the treasurer. I completed my PG DIP project management at Stellenbosch last year, and I've graduated in March this year. So I'm still fresh with all my knowledge. And it's a privilege to participate in this information session and share a little bit about my experience. It's going to take a few minutes. Why I choose Stellenbosch Business School? Even after 36 years in the mining industry, I reached a point where I realized that practical experience alone was no longer enough. I wanted to strengthen the academic and strategic foundation behind the work I was doing. I did not only want to manage projects, but I wanted to understand more clearly how projects contributed to the organization in a broader strategy, especially in the mining sector. I also wanted to strengthen my knowledge of governance, risk, procurement, scheduling, and stakeholder managing and responsible leadership. And hence I choose Stellenbosch Business School because of its excellent reputation. And I can just say excellent reputation again. Academic credibility and strong emphasis on responsible leadership. I wanted a program that would not only provide me with qualification, but would also like to challenge me in my thinking, strengthening my confidence, and develop me as a leader. So that was more why I chose the business school. My program experience, if I can talk a bit about that. Dr. Kuni was now talking about it, but I will give my view on it, Doctor. The program was challenging, but it was also one of the most rewarding academic experience of Nolan in my life. From the beginning, I realized that I could not simply memorize information. We were expected to think critical, question assumptions, and apply academic concepts to real organizational challenges. The lecturers brought a valuable contribution of academic knowledge and practical experience. The diversity of my classmates also enriched my learning, and that was one of the key points that stood out for me, is the groups, different groups that I found myself in the foundational model. Every model you've got different groups, and then in the specialized, you've got one group. So yeah, you grow closer to those individuals. We all came from different industries, organization, cultures, and professional backgrounds. This allows us then to learn from one another and approach problems from different perspectives. And it really helped me at times when I could bring a problem that I experienced between blocks, and I bring it to my teammates, and then they just elaborate. And when I reflect on it, it just really helped me so much. The assignments were demanding, but practical, very much practical. And I could use my real workplace challenges as the basis for much of my academic work. For example, if I can, I applied my learning to an underground Wi-Fi project that we were busy with. So I could apply the project scheduling, the risk management, and the broader strategy of the PMO. The program, therefore, did not remain in the classroom. It could immediately apply what I was learning within my organization. So after doing a topic, I can then come back and I immediately apply it with my team, coaching them and tell them what I've learned. And at point in time, especially the responsible leadership and understanding the world has really shaped us as a team at Wessels in the PMO. So for me, it was one of the program greatest strengths, connecting academic learnings with real business challenges. The managing the demands, balancing my studies with a demanding leadership role, family life, and community responsibility required discipline and careful planning. There was evenings and weekends when I had to study despite being tired. I soon realized that I could not rely on motivation alone, of which my wife done a lot. And I was procrastinating so much, and she was keep on motivating me. I created a dedicated study periods, work backwards from the submission dates, and divide larger assignments into manageable sections. The program is demanding, but it is manageable. It requires consistency, planning, and the support of the people closest to you. They need to understand where you are at. My advice is simple: start assignments early, remain consistent, and ask for assistance when you need so. The best way is after coming from block week, take that week off because you will be tired, and then start by doing some reading on it and research. What impact did it have on my leadership? The program significantly influenced my leadership and how I approach projects. I now view a project in a more than a scope of work, what we all know, that most must be completed within a specific budget and schedule. I consider now how it supports the organizational strategy, how risks are managed, how stakeholders are affected, and whether it creates sustainable long-term value. So that it really helped me in that. The program also improved my confidence when communicating with senior leadership. I became better structured in my thinking, presenting evidence and motivating a recommendation. The program always taught me that responsible leadership is not only about delivering results, it is also about how we achieve those results and how our decisions affect people, the organization, and the communities that we live in. I completed the program with an overall average of 81%, and I'm proud of that result, but the marks are not only measured of success. The greatest achievements was the leader and the person I became through this journey. In closing, for those of you considering applying, be clear about why you want to undertake the program, do not pursue it simply to add another qualification to your CV. Enter the program with a genuine desire to learn, to grow, and to become a more effective leader, because we need that. Not just South Africa, but Africa and the world need responsible leaders, and that we become effective. My journey shows that even after 36 years and in the mining industry, we are never too experienced or too advanced in our career to continue learning and developing. Stellenbosch Business School will challenge you, but it will also develop you. If you are prepared to work consistently, participate fully, and remain connected to your purpose, the experience can be transformational. Education is not simply about obtaining a qualification, it's about expanding your ability to make a meaningful difference in your organization, your family, and your community. And that I can testify to. I became a better husband and a dad, become more patient, reflect more. I hope my experience has given you a better understanding of the program and that the value it can offer. But choosing Stellenbosch Business School will be the best advice that I can give to you. To apply now, don't wait for too long, and so that your application can be evaluated and that you can become part of the family at Stellenbosch Business School. Thank you so much, Milan.
Thank you so much, Nolan. Honestly, if there's something I needed today was some great inspiration, and it's truly inspiring hearing your story, hearing your journey, and hearing how you went through, the work that you've done. And it shows that it's not just about studying and just getting a paper, but the real human element that Dr. Kuni was talking about earlier. Before I open up the Q&A for everybody, I know that you have heard RPL mentioned a few times by Nolan and by Dr. Kuni. Just to tell you guys what RPL is for those who didn't catch that, is recognize prior learning. Like you've heard with what Nolan said, that it does. Learning does not just happen through getting a degree, but you do have people who have really extensive experience, as Nolan has 30 plus years. So in line with the values that I was talking about with the business school earlier, which really wants to address, equity, access, inclusivity, what then happens is that 10% of our intake is for people with recognized prior learning. So these are people with, real years of professional experience, management and leadership roles, and this gives them then the access to get into these project postgraduate qualifications for anyone who's missed that. So I'm going to open up the Q&A, but just to break the ice, for those who might be a bit nervous, please do think about your questions and raise your hands. I'll just ask two questions then to Dr. Kuni and to Nolan. I'll just start with Nolan. Nolan, you've been in the industry and you've been really doing great work for 30 plus years. How would you say was the qualification still relevant, especially for someone like yourself, who's doing the project management work day to day for plus 30 years? How did you find that was the qualification relevant?
Milan, for me, it was to apply what you've learned was the best way, and it's so refreshing because sometimes we are going into, and you think what you know is the best, but once you touch base with all your colleagues and what's been brought over to you by the lecturers, it really then brings something, and you freshen up and you come up with new ideas. Your perspective are changing, and for me, it opened up doors for me because of my application. And just before my graduation, we're finishing off in December, and just before my graduation, I've got a promotion. Because what I was doing is when I came back, I always shared with my management team, the Exco team, what was the program all about, and I need to present back to them. So I've made them part of my journey. So they could see the feedback from them to me is they could see the growth within me on the different topics that we've understanding the world, the responsible leadership, and they could see that not me just talking about it, but how I applied it throughout the year, and with that consistency, I was being blessed with a promotion in March.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Dr. Cooney, just before I open the Q&A, just a question for you. Currently around the world, there's all this anxiety about, AI, the role of AI, and people being replaced. And earlier on, you mentioned how, at the intersection of it all, you still need project managers. How do you think then this program would enable people to still remain at that intersection of relevance in this world where people think they're so replaceable?
I'm gonna make it as short as possible because I see we're running out of time. But no, my opinion about AI is there's going to be a serious, or there's already a, I want to say, a serious fork in the road. Some people are gonna, I'm going to say it bluntly, going to become more dumb or dumber and lazier, and not going to be able to think. And other people are going to be just much more efficient and much more productive and much more valuable to the organization. But you cannot be that person, I want to say that branch, if you don't know what project management is about, and if you don't know and that's what we're doing. We're building foundations on which we can now apply AI on and solve problems and become more efficient on that. So we do. I mean, we actually do already in class talk a lot about AI and the value of AI and how we can apply AI. And a lot of the I want to say assignments and a lot of the briefs and the class exercises is saying, go on, go online or go on your preferred platform and figure out how to do a work breakdown structure and what the value of that is, and how you can apply that in your working environment. So definitely, I don't think it's taking over the world. It's adding a lot of value. But my key outcome is output, or our mindset is, you must decide who you want to be, this side or that side.
Thank you for that, Dr. Cooney. Okay, everyone, please, if you have any questions, please do raise your hand. So I'm opening the floor for anyone who have questions. I see most of the questions have been answered in the chat. And thank you everybody for being so engaging. I'll read one question out loud so long. It says, can I apply the PGDIP to my work with mega structures, or should I pursue the MBA project management?
Yeah, I think that I'm not sure what you mean by mega structures. I mean, if you are a project manager dealing with day-to-day project management stuff, then the PGD will probably be a better option for you. If you are the program manager on on a mega project or on a mega program, or if you are a manager or a portfolio manager within a company that deals with those, and your aspirations are not to sort of be too involved with projects anymore, more on the high level organizational stuff, then the MBA will be a better option. Yeah, so I don't know what the role is. Let me put it this way: you're not going to be a better project. Well, my personal opinion is, if you work on mega projects and very technically involved, then the PGD is probably better for you, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So yes, it's about the organizational. It's about the organizational. How to say, presence or knowledge, or that you need, that you get in an MBA. Which we also deal with, but on a lower level, on that level, but more technical from a point of view. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Charlie, does that answer your question? If not, you can
You
maybe
can just
expand.
talk. Don't worry about writing. Just talk. Charlie, does it make sense? I hope you're
We'll
not
wait.
building another Burj Khalifa. We already have one, and one is enough.
I think the info session was so information dense that people don't even have questions. I think most of it were answered. Everyone, please, any question whatsoever regarding the program, maybe questions to Nolan, you are welcome to engage with us.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy. I can don't be shy. I can just ask a quick question. If there's no hands, colleagues, if you see hands, please let me know. Let me just try to do this. There we go. Marvin has a question. And then I'll give Martha from Namibia after.
Thanks, Milan and Nolan again. Congratulations. Good evening, everyone. So I've got about two questions that I have. I think the first one is just wanting to understand the demand of the program when completing over 1 year. I think I have a very demanding full-time job, and also doing freelance project management work. So I'd like to just understand the expectation of like the workload, like on a weekly basis. I have a qualification in project management from CPUT. So I'm also like interested in how much of like programs built on like existing project knowledge that you already have. That is question number one. Question number two, or do you want to first answer, then I go for
No,
question
you
number
can go.
two?
You can go.
Question number two is, does completing like, if you complete the PG DIP, have like any impact, or does one have to still need to complete the PMP certificate? Would I still need to pursue that separately? It's just been something that I've always wanted to do. And when I did my, it was called the BTEC, it's no longer the BTEC. When I did the advanced diploma, we were always told by our lecturers to do the PMP certificate. But then I came across the boss, and I was like, this sounds something, it's more enticing, something more that I want to do. So just wanting to understand that as well.
Okay, so
Thanks.
your first question is a very good question. Oh, well, both is good, but the first one is very good. I mean, guys, our advice is always, if you have a very demanding workload or work environment, if you are traveling a lot, if you are about to expand your family, if you just got married, I would always just say rather do it over 2 years. The 2 years on itself is already quite a hectic program. There's quite a lot of work that we go through. There's quite a lot of assignments that you have to do, and preparation work, group work that you do. So I mean, just to let you know, or not to put it in more in perspective, is we said for 40 weeks you're gonna be, for 40 weeks a year, you're gonna be busy from roughly 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock in your physical classes. Then you still have to do your preparation work and your assignment work and your group work and everything linked to that. So if you do it online, I mean, it translates into the same hours if you do it face to face, or if you do it in the block week format. So if you have a demanding, I almost want to say that the only reason why I would really think it's worth doing, or the need for doing it over 1 year, will be if there's some sort of a deadline or something. So there's a job that you want to do, that's a requirement for your working environment, or you have pressure to to go somewhere or something like that. Or maybe you've got pressure of I don't know what, starting a family, and you don't want to wait 2 years to do that. So for most people, I would say the most the 2 years will be a better option in terms of that, unless you've got really a lot of time, and your environment is stable, and your support is there. We always say, I mean, that's something that Nolan also said, is that guys, if it's a massive disruption on yourself and on your family and on your working environment. So think twice about that. So I hope I've answered that one. Then the PMP, I've got a very long answer, but I can try to make it as short as possible. First priority always qualification. That's what I always say. I'm also a PMP. The PMPs are valuable, but not more valuable than a degree. So I mean, if you look at, you know, if you sit somewhere for a job interview or whatever, if anybody, unless you've got some serious high level experience in project management and you're a PMP but you don't have the qualification, the PMP might get it. But I think at the first choice, I always say your foundation is your qualification, and then the certification is your advertising. It's saying to the people, listen, I've got someone who proves that I know what I'm doing, and I've went through that whole PMP process to do that. So definitely, it's worth doing both. But if you want to do one before the other, definitely get your if you can, if you're in a position to do that, I would do the qualification first.
Connie,
Thank,
may
thank you.
I add something to that with regards to the workload? It's just something I've learned over the past few years, that every module carries 15 credits. It's national credits. And based on that, the way they work it out, the higher education department, is that every credit equals roughly 10 hours. So if you think about that, it's 15 credits, so that's about 150 hours approximately that you have to invest in time per module. So, and that includes classes and everything that's included: study time, assignments, research, and preparing for your assessments. So that might just add some extra weight in your decision as to whether you want to do it over 1 or 2 years, because that's basically come down, if you want to do it over 1 year, it basically comes down to 300 hours commitment per term. Thanks.
Yeah, it's 50 days. If I say days, 24 hours. I've just divided it into, so it's 50 24-hour days that you're only going to spend on this. So it's not if you don't count in your sleep and anything else. So it is quite hectic. It is quite hectic.
I
Thank you so
think
much.
Nolan, maybe you can add on that, because you've had to kind of adjust between studying and working, and you've made it to the top. So it'll be good to hear how that
I
adjustment
don't know
was
how
for
he
you.
made it. 85% is amazing. Absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
as Dr. Kune was saying that you need to be committed. You need to understand where you are at, and what is driving you. And once you find that, and please discuss it with your family. I can hear that you are already, but it is possible if you work out a plan for you backwards. And you take off the first week. Don't leave it too late. When it's too late, you're just gonna put more pressure onto yourself. But it can be done. But it takes a lot of commitment, and your family needs to be aligned. You can't do it alone. It needs to be a decision by the family as well, because it is demanding.
Thank you for that, Nolan. I'm just gonna give Martha a chance. Martha, you had your hand up.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for the platform. It's quite informative. I have actually gathered 3 questions. The first question, I think we didn't hear about the payment structure of this course. Maybe if you can enlighten us on the application fee and registration fee and how one can pay throughout the year. The other question is on the student support. Do we have any student support, maybe for students that are outside the country, say, for example, Namibia? And my last question is on the assessments. Are we required to write examination, or is only through assignment assessments? Those are my 3 questions.
Okay, I'll
Thank you
take the last one first, and then you guys can take the other one. So, like I said, in the presentation, there is tests. There are tests. So our system is set up that you can write if you remotely, if you do the blended format. So they've got software and all sorts of stuff that we use that. But having said that, as soon as you go into your foundational, in your specialization modules, a lot of those there's not a lot of tests anymore. Most of that is assignments, but definitely tests. There is some tests. Yeah.
Perfect. I've resent the link regarding payment options and methods. One of our colleagues can engage with that more if they please, but I think there was a question about international, and Tafir can maybe take that. Sorry, Marissa, were you saying something?
Yeah, I was going to jump in there. Sorry, Tafir. Basically, what the way it works with international students is the full year fee is unfortunately payable to register for international students, because the finance department do not have any legal footing across borders to follow up on bad debts. So it's a university rule, not a business school rule, that international students need to unfortunately pay the full amount. So you need to, make arrangements for that. But once you applied and you got admission, we will let you know that were successful, and this is the date by when you must then pay that full amount. As soon as you hear that you've got admitted, you can start making payments towards the full amount, but the deadline remains the same. So if you've got 3 months or 4 months left before the final pay date, then you can divide your year's fee within 4 brackets and pay, installments made out for yourself to budget towards the full settlement. But yeah, you won't be able to pay it within next year, unfortunately.
Thank you for that. I think that answers the questions. Was there a question about international support?
That question was on student support.
Yes.
You mean financial support or?
No, not financial support. Just any query on the university, you say?
I just want to, if you can maybe just elaborate what kind of support you are referring to. I'm assuming it's not financial support. Our international students receive the same kind of support that South African students receive, apart from obviously, like we mentioned now, the payment option of installments not being available to you. So if you can maybe elaborate on what kind of support or give us an example that you are referring to.
Okay, sorry. The kind of support I'm referring to, it's any other support that one can engage the university. If some university, for example, that are having, they may have an office that's stationed in a certain country where if a student needs any kind of support, they can always reach out to that one specific dedicated personnel to engage the student within that country.
Yes, we do have a international office, which I will connect you to, and I'll share their information also on the chat.
Yes, Milan, that is correct. We have a dedicated international office at Stellenbosch Business School. So they will be able to advise you or be a contact for you in terms of other requirements or the needs that you have during your studies.
Yes, yes. There's a question from Rose.
Thank you. I have been answered partly in the chats, but I wanted to ask if someone has a master's in public health, would you advise them to register for the postgrad diploma, or maybe rather just go straight for the MBA project management, since both are over 2 years? And also in terms of payment, international students, is there an exception for those that are resident here and working here permanently? Because I'm working at UCT and my sponsor is South African. So maybe the international office can address that, or maybe you can address that here. how does that work? Do I also need to pay upfront, or the installments will be extended to me?
Okay, while I think I can just comment on the other one is that I think you know the answer. It's if you want to become more technical involved in projects and you see yourself as being a project manager, then I would say it would be better to do the Broadcast diploma. If your organization is very project based and you want to go into maybe managing a company that deals with projects, then I would go to the MBA route.
Thank you for that, Dr. Kuni. I see there's a hand from Umberto.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, on the requirements, you spoke of mathematics as being preferable. I just want to check how intensive is this mathematics for the program, and I'm asking that for someone who does not have a strong mathematical background.
Okay, what I just try to get the slide now. So the requirement is let me just get to that. I think I said something like a NQF, was it 3 or something?
4. NQF level 4.
4, yeah. 4 is what is 4? Where are we sitting with 4? So it's I want to say high school
So
level.
4 is matric. 4 is matric.
Yeah, matric. So yeah, it's been practice. Well, we do yeah. I want to say, if you feel uncomfortable about the maths, come and talk to us first before you yeah, before you either just being kicked out or before you don't apply. After having a good conversation with us, you'll have an idea if you think that you will be able to do that. But like I said, there's quite a few analytical stuff that we do, so it is required that you can help yourself around with the mathematics, definitely.
Thank you for that, Dr. Kuni. We have 8 minutes left of our session, and I have the responsibility to keep us in time intact. I have shared my email address for anyone who has further questions that we might not have addressed here. And first of all, I'd like to thank everybody who had joined. Before I give over to Dr. Kuni and Nolan for just last comments as to, just to encapsulate what, we spoke about and, the great benefit of applying, I'd just like to remind everybody that the 31st of October, the applications close. And for RPL students, the 31st of September. Just remember the caveat that we spoke about: the quicker you apply, the better, the sooner the better, and you can engage with us if you have any problems. I'm going to start with Nolan, then I'll give Dr. Kuni the last word.
No, thank you so much, Milan. I just want to really encourage everybody. There's a reason why you are here tonight. There's follow your dream, apply yourself, and don't think too much, because there's a reason. I just want to end off. There's a reason why you connect tonight and want more information. So, but I can just wish you all the very best. And I can just reiterate that Stellenbosch School is so supportive. You can ask any question, you will get your answers. And so, yeah, but follow your heart. Thanks, Milan.
Thank you so much, Nolan.
Good, very nice. Thank you. I just see there's a question about engineering management, project management. I think the best would be go and do some. I can tell you what I can tell you what project management is and what you're going to get from our course in project management. It's going to be a personal thing. You have to decide that for yourself. I don't want to elaborate on what engineering management is, but it's close, but not the same. So maybe go and do a bit of research on engineering management and engineering management qualifications. And then if you still want to talk to me, we can make an appointment. We can chat about it. I can tell you what my opinion is from an external point of view. Okay, so guys, just to finish up, thank you very much. It's nice. I think I said probably what I needed to. I think the only thing that's still left is the questions and the queries that you have. So I know I'm also like that. Is that if you start searching, you get bombarded with all the information, and you get bombarded with all the programs at the university and all the different rules and regulations and stuff, and then you start feeling anxious or whatever. If you don't find online straight away what you're looking for, I want to say even before that, we've got a very good team. Milan is always there, and I don't know if Henry is also there or whoever, but I mean, you can please contact us. Please contact us, and that we can clarify stuff. From my side, I hope I see you guys, and walk the journey together. Don't wait too long. Don't wait too long. Get the process going. If you know you want to go ahead, go for it. And then just from my side also, for the team over here, it's really fantastic. I mean, it's really, we've got everybody all the way from I would say student support to marketing to alumni to payments and to everything, and admin, everything. So thank you very much for everybody to help us with this. Our information is there. You're welcome to give us a call or give us an email or anything. We can help you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kunyi. And everybody remember, no inquiry is too little. If you have an inquiry, please feel free to email us. You can call reception, ask for Henry or Milan, and we are there to help you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kunyi, for your time and for the informative session. Nolan, thank you for the inspiration.
Thank you, Nolan.
We're all more eager to move forward. And to the greater team, the SBS team that have joined, thank you so much. And to everybody who's taken time tonight to spend time with us, we really appreciate it. And I hope that this conversation has given you a glimpse, if not a glimpse, a full book as to what you can expect in this program. And, learning that is not just a qualification, but it's more than that. Thank you for everyone who's joined. And if you still have to travel safely. And we're hoping to see you all on campus or online somewhere with the SBS. Thank you so much.
Milan, just a quick question. I saw that there were 2 requests for the presentations to be shared with some of the participants. Can whoever's interested in it email one of you?
Yes. So I've answered earlier on for those who've missed it. We will be sending with our thank you mailer. We'll be sending everyone who's attended the presentation as well as the recording of the session.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Hope to see you all again. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.